What's going on, everybody? GentleBen94 here. Welcome back to Ben Builds. We are here with the Albatros. This is episode number 13, and I'm really hoping to get as much done today as I can. So let's dive on in and see what we can do. So first off, I want to work on the rigging. I'm not going to actually rig it today because I don't have all the turnbuckles installed, so I'm going to have to deal with the turnbuckles first and add a few more. I was noticing on the wing joint here between the fuselage and the wing, there should be an area there where the rigging all kind of assembles into one little central joint. I don't see that on the kit, so we're going to have to go ahead and do a little surgery and figure out where that hole's going to go. Other than that, though, should be pretty easy. The other sections, like the wings, we have to worry about the struts and the turnbuckles on each of those struts. The holes here on the wing are too small, so I'm going to have to drill those out to get those struts even in there. Also, the rigging that's strung from the actual struts into the fuselage, we need to go ahead and install those turnbuckles, get those finished up. The rear tail as well, we have to worry about the control cables. Now, the fuselage doesn't have any indication on where those control cables would enter into the fuselage, so I'm going to have to just make a best guess here, use the instructions, and try to figure out where best to drill those holes. I'm going to need 2 on the top and 2 on the bottom. Also, I would really like to go ahead and try to shade this rear tail surface. Now, there's raised panel detail, just like there was on the wings. So I want to go ahead and mask those off, maybe using some Tamiya tape, and then come back and kind of spray paint over that. I'm thinking of using the silver gray. That's white enough, but also dark enough that might look pretty cool. I don't know for sure, but we're going to try it out. Then we're going to come back through, we're going to blend it all with a nice thin coat of white, and I'm hoping just to get the bare minimum showing through. Let's go ahead and dive on in and work on that masking first, see what we can do for this rear tail. All right, let's go ahead and unmask the tail and the rear surfaces and see how we turned out. Again, I'm going to have to go ahead and blend all this, I'm pretty sure. Take some flat white and just kind of really thin it out and just mist coats on it to kind of tone it down a bit. But this is actually what I was going for. It's dark enough that a nice misting blend coat should give it a really cool effect. And here's the rear tail as well. As you can see, yeah, it looks pretty decent. A lot of blending needs to be done, but I think it'll work. I really do. Now, we're going to have to go ahead and drill those holes out now. And according to the instructions, the hole should be right around here. So I'm going to use my pin vise, and I'm just going to press in with a pin and give a little dimple there. And let's move across to the other side, try to line it up, and dimple this as well. There we go. Yeah, that's not too bad. Now I can actually use my hobby knife and kind of open up those holes. So we've got a nice blade in there. Let's use that. Let's see. Yeah, right about here. Let's go ahead and drill in just a little bit with the point of the hobby knife. And I'm going to try to round this section out. There we go. Give a nice tapered effect. Clean that up a little bit. There we go. I want to do the bottom first because, well, you're not going to see the bottom very much. So if I screw up, it's not a big deal. By the time I get to the top of this, hopefully I should have this down. Let's try the other side here, see what we can do on that. Yeah, I think that'll work. Yeah, not bad. Here on the top, we're going to do this exact same thing. I've already dropped my little dimples here. I'm using my X-Acto knife. We're going to hollow that out, kind of shave it out, give it a nice contoured effect. There we are. There we go. Perfect. I like that. That's pretty neat. Going to clean it up just a little bit though. I'm hoping when I put that tail in and I string those cables, I'll be able to start here on this hole, push the easy line cable in, drop a little bit of super glue on it, stretch it out, and then clip it off and attach it to the tail surfaces right where the attachment points should be. I'm hoping everything lines up. I mean, who knows? This is all experimentation for me, but I'm hoping this is going to look the part. So we're going to go ahead and load up our airbrush with a really thin coat of flat white. And we're going to airbrush all the tail surface to give that nice blending coat so it's not too stark. All right, while everything's drying off camera, I want to go ahead and turn our attention over to the turnbuckles. Now I've made a whole bunch, as you can see here in my white paint cup, and I'm going to try to install all of those that I can. On the wing here, we actually need to have 3 turnbuckles coming out of this one hole. I don't know how that's going to turn out or how it's going to work out, but I'm thinking I'm going to make the hole, and then I'm going to leave those turnbuckles off for right now. Once I install the actual strut itself, then I can put those turnbuckles in, because I don't want to do the other way around because I might close up the hole with super glue. Also here, I want to go ahead and make that opening here on the fuselage as well. So I've got it marked off, and I'm pretty sure that we should have an opening right about here on this panel line. I'm going to make a little dimple here with my pin vise. Then with my X-Acto knife, I'm going to open that hole up just a little bit to give it some more depth. I'm going to take my pin vise again, but with my tiny drill bit that I've got, and I'm going to just drill this out. I'm not going to go all the way through. I'm just going to give it a little bit of an indentation so that I can use that for later on. We take our wing, and I'm hoping, fingers crossed, that we hook this wing in, and we should have a little bit of an opening right above that wing. Yeah, just like that. That should work well. Then I can go ahead and string those cables right into that hole, and we should be good to go. On the top wing, I want to go ahead and open up all these locating holes because none of them are very big, and the locating pins are way too big for the holes. So I'm going to open all these up with my drill bit, and then this will also give us a little bit more room to use my turnbuckles. I can go ahead and wedge those in after I install the actual struts. So we're going to go ahead and push through. We're going to install all the struts and start installing those turnbuckles and get this bottom of the wing set up as best as we can before we actually install it onto the aircraft. It's a lot of work here, guys, a lot of work, and I'm not sure how this is turning out, but fingers crossed, this is going to work. All right, so cue that time lapse. Let's see how much we can get done. All right, the wings are on. I like it. It looks good. Let's go ahead and put this aside. Let's let this dry, And let's move our attention over to the guns. Now, I want to go ahead and install the guns into the fuselage before I put that top wing on, because once I put that top wing on, we're going to have hardly any room to get anything in anywhere. So I'm going to go ahead and drill out the gun openings here, and then we're going to install those machine guns. Just a real quick swap of glue here on the ammo feeding tube. And we should be able to just push this right up against that, and hoping that it stays and isn't too finicky. Might have to use some tweezers, but I think I might be able to get it. There we go. All right, give a little bit of pressure, make sure this tacks up, and then we can adjust as we kind of move along. We have to do the other side as well, so I'm going to hollow out that gun port and get that onto the other side. Let's go ahead and make a few adjustments here. We have both of the guns on, and the glue isn't quite 100% dry. It's tacky, but I think we have enough movement here we can get these guns kind of lined up. The engine kind of contacts the inside of this gun a little bit, but I think it's okay. We're going to be using Model Master's Gun Metal. I think that's a good color choice for the machine guns. Let's get those painted up. Now on the underside of the top wing, we have to go ahead and install some turnbuckles. I prepared those off camera, so we don't have to worry about that, but we do have to install them. So I'm drilled out some holes on each of these struts. Now we're going to go ahead and come back. A little bit of super glue. We're going to use our tweezers and our homemade turnbuckles. We're going to try and install as many as we can here. So we have 2 on the side, and we have 4 in the middle, and then 4 in the middle, and then 2 on the side. So let's go ahead and try it, see what we can do. All right, let's go ahead and try to install the top wing to the fuselage and the bottom wing. So I'm going to drop a little bit of Tamiya glue here. I'm going to start from the fuselage and work our way out to the end of the wings. Now the locating pins on the fuselage just weren't that big, so I did end up drilling those out just a little bit more. But I think if I can get those nice and secure, we should be able to position the outer part of the wing into the actual openings themselves, and it shouldn't be too bad. This is a little nerve-wracking, to be honest. We'd have to go ahead and line up the inner struts to get those glued in and locked into place so that the outer struts can be positioned and maneuvered into their locating holes as well. So far, this is not posing to be very easy. Everything is more or less in the right place, but the holes are too small, the pins are too big. We have a lot of work to do to get this thing lined up. Now that I have it mostly lined up, it took me forever to get to this point, we're going to go ahead and just take a little bit of super glue to tack that in. Boy, I tell you, super glue is a lifesaver for these. I think that looks decent enough. I'm going to give a little bit of pressure here on these, make sure these aren't going to go anywhere. And I think we're going to call it quits for today, guys. The wing is on. I'm happy with the way it looks. I got my turnbuckles in. Everything is pretty much ready for rigging. So next episode, we're going to finish off the assembly, and then we're going to turn our attention to some rigging. That's going to be a long episode, guys, just like this one. So thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you back here next week on the Albatros, episode 14, here on Ben Builds. Thank you so much, guys. We'll see you soon.